Denmark, Germany, England, Scotland, Italy, Spain, Canada, and USA. This place has some of the best examples of vintage furniture from around the world. They also have a wide variety of antique and vintage collectibles, including glassware, artwork, and other household items. My name is Barry, and welcome to Mad City Modern. I hope you'll join me for this new episode of the Antique Mall series. In this video, I'll tour a brand new antique mall on the west side of Madison. This is Atomic Antiques, a family-owned business that opened its doors in August of 2022, just a few minutes from downtown Madison, Wisconsin, and about 150 miles from Chicago, Illinois. My plan when entering the store was to grab a cart and a map, but I was easily distracted by this gorgeous vintage vending machine. During my visit here, I had the opportunity to meet the owners, a husband and wife team, as well as other family members and additional staff members. Everyone was so friendly, and if I had to give my first impressions of this place, I would say that it's well lit, well organized, and easy to navigate, words that aren't often used to describe an antique mall. One of the first things that I'd like to show you is one of my favorite booths, and one of the first booths that you see when you walk in the front doors of the store. This should hopefully help you understand the quality of the furniture items that you'll see throughout this video. It may be apparent early on in this video that this store is filled mostly with vintage items versus antiques, and I believe there's a reason for that. Antique furniture is not as sought after in the Midwest as it might be in other areas of the country, or even the world for that matter. And that may bring up the question for some who are wondering what the difference is between an antique and a vintage item. An antique would classify as something more than 100 years old, whereas the term vintage is more subjective. The term simply means of age. My interpretation of vintage as it relates to furniture and other collectibles would simply mean something at least 40 or 50 years old, all the way up to 100 years old. Feel free to let me know your thoughts in the comments. I'll start this tour on the far north side of the store, and it would be near impossible to show every item in every booth, but I'll do the best I can to show enough variety to keep things interesting, but also take my time so that you're able to see as much as possible. This was fun the last time, so I'll ask again. If money wasn't a factor, which 3 items would you have taken home with you on this day? Surprisingly, this is only one of 2 lane-acclaimed furniture pieces that I found in the store on this day. Here's an example of a set of mid-century dressers that can often be found here in the Midwest. They were made by Kraler Furniture Company, and yes, I believe it's pronounced Kraler. They were based out of Naperville, Illinois, which is just outside of Chicago. At one time, Kraler was the largest furniture manufacturing company, and since it was here in the Midwest, it would make sense that we find these pieces often. I believe this is an old dental cabinet, and you may remember seeing one of these in the last Antique Mall tour. You can find all the Antique Mall tour videos in a playlist on the channel. I'm not much of an art collector, but I really enjoyed the variety of works that were on display in this store. Where else can you get free admission to a museum like this that also serves free coffee and other beverages? Here's another unique booth with a selection of vintage kitchen appliances. I would imagine many of these vendors are full-time resellers, while others have chosen this as a part-time hobby after retirement. Either way, it's clear that most of these vendors take pride in the way that they display their booths. There are several large furniture sections to see throughout this entire video, but I do also want to take some time to look through some of the smaller collectibles in the smaller booths. I worked in healthcare most of my adult life, and when I purchased my home about 5 years ago, I started buying furniture from the thrift stores to furnish my own home. I then started buying and selling furniture and also refinishing furniture to help pay off student loan debt and credit card debt. That eventually led me to create a YouTube channel to share my furniture restoration projects. And now here I am with a newfound and ever-growing appreciation for all things old. So if you're enjoying this as much as I am and you feel that I've earned it, please consider subscribing to the channel. You can also follow me on Facebook and on Instagram, where I'll be sharing shorter clips from this same tour for the next several weeks. Of course, I had to share this next section for all the Pyrex lovers out there. I'm not sure how this store compares to vintage stores or antique malls in your area, but it's worth mentioning how well organized so many of these booths actually are, and how many of these vendors have chosen a very specific theme. This next booth is hands down my favorite booth in the entire store. Not only is it warm and inviting, but this is a small part of a large collection that belonged to a World War II veteran and his wife. I didn't ask to tell their story for this video, so I won't be sharing that information, but if you do happen to make it to this store, be sure to ask one of the owners about the history behind this collection. Since we do have plenty of time while we're looking around, I wanted to take a moment to say thank you for all the support on the channel. I am receiving your letters and postcards from all over the world, and I'm enjoying each and every one of them. I am currently working on several furniture restoration projects, and I'll be sharing those on the channel soon. It may seem that I've taken a break from those furniture restorations to create more content like this, but at the moment, this is truly what I enjoy sharing. Here's a large selection of mid-century furniture that was brought over from England and Scotland. I especially appreciated seeing the variety of credenzas and sideboards, since we don't often see pieces from England here in the Midwest. I would imagine the same applies for many of you in Europe. You probably don't often see lane acclaim furniture pieces. Many of you are probably more familiar with some of these iconic American mid-century pieces, including the lane acclaimed Brutalist collection. This Perception collection by Lane Furniture was affordable just a few years ago, but this design is becoming popular once again and is getting hard to find. And of course, here's another piece of furniture from an iconic furniture line Broyhill, Brasilia. You may also recognize the Townhouse collection from Kent Coffee, and if your eyes are better than mine, then you may have spotted several of the Haywood Wakefield pieces that I've somehow overlooked. I hope you've enjoyed this first part of the tour for the Atomic Antique Store. I'm looking forward to sharing so much more with you. Be sure to check this video description for more details about the Atomic Antique Store and for future plans for the mall tour. If you're ever in the Madison area, be sure to stop at Atomic Antiques on the west side of Madison next to Home Depot, and be sure to let them know that Barry sent you. As always, I appreciate all of your support, and be sure to check the channel often for several new uploads. Here's another antique mall tour if you haven't seen it already.